Hi everyone, my name is Niels and I will be taking the webinar, I'll be hosting the webinar today for the Pastel My Web Space Introduction to Creating Content, Laying Out Content Effectively for the website, as well as creating some nice little interactive objects like YouTube widgets and image galleries and some contact us forms and placing them on the website. The webinar will start officially at 12 o'clock, so we'll just wait until then for everyone else to join. And once that's started, then we can have a look at our first item of the day. In the meanwhile, for those of you that have joined, I'd like to look at a software called Pixlr. Now, Pixlr is a very useful online image editing suite for all of your graphics design and resizing needs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to www.pixlr.com. I'll choose Pixlr Express, which is the center option. And here I can either upload an image from my desktop, I can open a URL if the image is already hosted on the internet. So I'm going to upload from my desktop. I'm going to find one of the images that we'll be working with today. So let's look in the webinar. Now I want to specifically look at that image there. Okay. So currently I'm not happy with this image as it's too square and it's taking up too much space on my website. So there's too much vertical wastage going on here. I feel that we could better use the space by maybe taking out some of that white sky above the cyclist, or maybe even cropping a little bit of the brown earth below, just to make the image smaller slightly. This is often quite a confusing topic for most of the guys using my web space, as they think, well, why can't I just make the image smaller? But making an image smaller requires the image to stay in the same aspect ratio. Now, by that, I mean, if I drag this down from the corner, it's going to stay in the right shape, so it's not going to warp at all. If I had to just move from the side here, what would happen to this image is it would stretch, and it would be compressed. And if I brought it downwards only, it would then be horribly compressed. So we actually have to keep it in aspect ratio to maintain the integrity of the image. So what we can do is use the adjustment here. I'd like to crop it or resize the image. I'm going to crop it because the image is big enough. I just want to take off certain items. Now, what I can do here is drag and isolate certain parts of the image. There we go. I've already knocked off about 200 pixels from the 200 pixels from the top and the bottom, and I still have a very clear idea of this image and what the focal object is, which is the gentleman ramping off some tree stump on a downhill bike. So what I can do is save that, and it will then save that cropped image to my desktop. Okay, so for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Niels, and I'll be hosting the webinar today for the beginner's guide to setting up content on your Pastel My Web Space site, arranging the content so it's presentable and also logically laid out so the customers that are trying to find information on your website can easily do so without having to navigate through all the pages of your website, as chances are they will leave very shortly afterwards. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to close this tab over here. And we will log into the My Webspace site. Now, if you've received a link for the webinar, chances are you've already registered for the 30-day free trial and will then be able to log in. If you registered via Pastel My Business Online, you can still register and log into your account using the, pardon me, using your reset password token link. So what we'll do is we'll log in, first things first. Sorry, Nils at pastelmywebspace.co.za and my private password. So when I submit that, you'll see a list of sites that I'm currently working on. I'm going to select the webinar demo. Now, if you're looking to build multiple websites for maybe you've got two companies or you've got one company that you'd like to keep the two branding, the two main branding areas separate, then you can create two different websites and you can easily work on them from your from the list over here. I'm going to select the webinar demo, which some of you might be familiar with already. And we'll log in over here. Okay, so this is the, excuse me, this is the homepage of your Pastel My Webspace site builder. What we recommend you do before starting to create the content is just first gather all the information that you might need to put on your website. Now, what I recommend doing is starting off with the information that you definitely know your clients need to see. So the products you offer, the services you offer, and your company profile. So who are you? Maybe include some of the notable projects you worked on, maybe some of your business partners, your affiliates, etc., to give your company credibility, which is often a very nice aspect to add when creating the content for your website. So what we recommend is, I'm just going to close my browser here, and you'll see I've created a little folder here called webinar. Now, I've got my two logos over here. I'll just be using the Sage Pastel My Webspace logo for now. And we've divided up the images into the categories. So you've got your mountain bikes, your road bikes, and also my slider images. Now the slider images I've edited, so they're a nice horizontal banner. For my text, I've got a text document here with some dummy Latin lorem ipsum dolor text, which we'll be using for the content of the site. What I recommend you do is clearly label the content with obviously the right headings, so you can compartmentalize all information, and it makes it very easy to upload and figure out what needs to go where on your website. So the first thing we need to do is update all our personal information. We've got the My Info page here where you can upload your two different logos, and I'll get to that just now. You can excuse me, adjust your Google Maps position, so this will be the head office of your company. You can also add additional branches here if you've got multiple branches of the same company that you'd like the client to be able to locate. We've got obviously your contact and personal details over here, as well as your trading hours and your physical address and your map location. You can also add additional contacts over here. So if you want to add your salesperson as a main contact, or the services manager, etc., etc. So what My Webspace does is we've designed all the content to be mobile ready. Now by that I mean it can resize for any device that your client is viewing the website on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload two different logos, one for the desktop and one for the mobile site. Now I'm just going to select just clear up some real estate here. I'm going to select my banner image. Now the banner image needs to be 964 pixels wide by 140 pixels high, which I'll drag and drop into there. We will automatically try and resize it for you, but for best results, it's obviously a good idea to resize it to the recommended sizes. And then the block logo, which will be 320 pixels by 140 pixels. I'm not going to do a site favicon now as I don't have one available, but for your information, the site favicon is a little icon in your browser over here, which is usually a part of the logo or an identifying aspect of your company. I'm going to save that. Just to demonstrate what I'm referring to over here, we've got the Sage logo with the My Web Space on the right, and then here we've got just the My Web Space logo. So I'm going to go to the official My Web Space site and look at how this affects the display. So here's my Sage, there's my path to My Web Space. So this is one big banner image here. As I make this window smaller, so I'll be imitating the width of possibly a tablet or a small tablet, you'll see that it slowly starts to, oh, there we go, it breaks. So now I've just got the Sage Pass to My Web Space logo, and we've lost the other Sage part, as otherwise it will be too cramped. You'll also now see that the mobile menu is now a big tabular, a list menu instead of a tab menu. This makes it very easy to use for the user on the mobile device. You also see that all the content's now laid out horizontally as opposed to vertically. Horizontally being that most users will be swiping up and down instead of swiping sideways to surf the content in a horizontal manner. I'm going to close that for now. It's just a short little demonstration. Okay, so let's get stuck in straight away and start building some basic content for our website. Now, on the home page, what information are we going to look to put here? Obviously, it's going to be the landing page where your client's going to access first when they visit your address. So today we'll be working with, as some of you might be familiar already, the Super Cycles theme, which is the common pastel demo content theme. So what do we want to display on our homepage? Now the homepage is crucial. As I said earlier, it's the first page your client's going to see, and as we know, first impressions are everything. So we need to tell the client exactly who we are, the products and services that we offer, so they have an immediate idea or a clear picture of what they can expect when browsing the rest of our website. So, for example, my Super Cycles company, we've got a special on this month on bicycle services. So we would definitely want to place that on the home page, as it's a very notable and an item we'd want to promote. So let's get stuck in with uploading the first images of our webinar. So I've got the few dummy ones over here that we used for the previous one, but I'd like to upload some fresh ones in order to keep things tidy. Okay, so let's start off with the road bikes. Now I've only got 3 road bike images here, but I think that should be enough to illustrate the site building capability. So I've got the 3 road bikes. I'm going to then select my mountain bikes. Notice we can just drag and drop the images. So I can select multiple images and just drag and drop them onto my browser, and all the images will upload automatically. You can also use the choose file button here, which will then obviously bring up the traditional file Windows file locator. What I'm also going to do is upload our 3 slider images. I'll just drag and drop that here. And now you'll see that we've got quite a bit of content to work with already in terms of graphical content. So I'm just going to add a few 3 generic pictures of some excuse me, of some cyclists in action. So here's our image tab over here. We've got all the content we are going to be working with already at hand. So I don't have to now go back and re-upload images while I'm busy adding some text or maybe fiddling with a content article. So I'm just going to go back to the site content tab here, which is obviously where all the building and the laying out happens. Now, Custom My Web Space is actually quite unique in the fact that we use a principle of content articles. Now, what is a content article? It's not a very familiar term to most of us, so I'll try to explain it to you very briefly. A content article is an object of information. You can add as much information as you'd like to this object, and as soon as you've created one, it will appear here in your content library, which I will do so straight away to illustrate my point. So I'm just going to delete all those placeholders. Okay, so My Web Space allows you to drag placeholders into place to structure the information differently, or maybe you've got a unique idea that you'd like to display, then you can do that by using the row layouts. So I'm going to start off with it's called a 3-column layout. I like 3-column layouts as they provide ample space for pictures as well as a small enough space to fit enough different content articles in one place. So now I've created my placeholders here. They don't contain any information, but I need to now click on one of them to add information to a content article. So I'm going to click on there, and you'll notice that it's immediately brought up the content article edit window. So here, I'm going to create some content for our fictional Supercycles website. Now, I'm going to, let's have a look at my images here. What images have I uploaded? I want to create I'm going to create a mountain bikes for sale section. Mountain bikes for sale, and I can obviously put some opening paragraph text over here, which I'm going to get from my text Word document, and I'm going to place that in the opening paragraph text over there, like so. There we go. Mountain bikes for sale. Great, I'm happy with that. Now, what I want to do is, let's just look at this content article here. I've created one, and it's immediately put it into the placeholder of the content library over here. Sorry, the content library, which is where all the articles live. Now, it's generated that automatically. Now, I can use this again over here by dragging and dropping the content article, and you'll see that it's going to display all of the information exactly the same as they're all from the same content article. Now, obviously, we wouldn't do that at this point in time, as we want to create 3 separate content articles. So let's get on with creating our second content article. Now we've got the first one, which is mountain bikes for sale. I want to create an additional one, which is road bikes for sale. Once again, I'm going to put some dummy text over here and save that. So now we've got mountain bikes for sale, we've got road bikes for sale, and over here I would maybe want to put a YouTube video. Now I've pre-copied a YouTube video, which is this one over here. So all I have to do is go here and copy the hyperlink at the top. So I just select this, Control C or right click copy, and head back to my site builder. Now I need to put a heading here first. So I'm going to create a heading called two steps for better 2 steps for better downhill riding, or this tips for better downhill biking. Sorry. And I want to add a YouTube widget. Now, all of the optional extras that you can add in the content articles are located on the right-hand side. So I can add image gallery objects, YouTube objects, and also additional subheadings and text blocks. So these are all fixed over here. You can leave them blank and they will not display, which I'm going to choose to do. I can then click on the images tab, drag my YouTube down and place it in the available area. It's going to prompt me automatically for the hyperlink, which I've copied from the YouTube widgets, sorry, the YouTube tab. Control V, which is to paste. There we go. So there's my video already looking very cool. So I'm going to save that. Now, you're thinking, well, why would I want a video on the homepage? It doesn't necessarily reflect on my company. It's got no real correlation to my actual business, but it does. It's a nice way of showing. It's a nice way of showing your customer that you are also an enthusiast for the sport, and you're going to place some interesting content that they're going to stay on your website and watch, because chances are if they really dig the video, they might be tempted to maybe browse some of the other tabs, and then also browse some of the other tabs, and maybe they'll find some more content that they like, or maybe make a purchase from your store or similar. Okay, on subject, I've got Carla who's asking me, how would you edit video clip length, cut and add? Do you need an app to do this? We don't offer any video editing software built into my web space. What you would do is, once you've created a video, you would have to do that using external software. So usually, if you're using a Mac, they've got the iMovie application where you can then, I think it's iMovie. I'm not too familiar with Mac. And also with Windows, you've got your Windows Movie Maker, so you can edit the videos placed in there, and then upload it to YouTube, and then just simply link it into your My Web Space site. Feel free to ask any questions, and if it is on topic, like this one was, thank you Carla, then I will answer them straight away. And if it's not on topic, I'll wait until we either cross that topic at a later point in time, or I'll answer them combinedly at the end, and we can make sure we're all on the same page with regards to My Web Space. So to answer briefly, Carla, My Web Space doesn't offer built-in image editing. Usually that's a desktop-based application would take care of that for you. Okay, so we've now created our 3 content articles. We haven't added any images yet, and I would just like to show you how it's going to display. So what we can do is click on the preview button over here to get a visual indication of exactly what our website's doing in terms of layout. So there we are. There's my Sage branding, Sage Pass to My Web Space, mountain bikes for sale, road bikes for sale, tips for better downhill biking. Now, I was kind of expecting a video to be over here, and it's not. Okay, so luckily I do know the answer to that, which is the display settings on each article. Now, each article might not necessarily, or you might not necessarily want to display all the content in one specific area. So what we do is we've got a concept of a read more button. Now, these read more buttons aren't displaying at the moment, except here it is. Now, why is that? I'm going to go back to the site preview and site builder. We have to click on this one, which doesn't have a read more button. And you'll see here, we've got the read more button text. and there's nothing additionally added or appended onto this content article. Now I can force this article to have a read more button now by adding the rest of my text here. So I've got some more text and I've got some, let's put a gallery object in here and choose the images I want for my gallery. So this one was I think it was the road bikes. Yes, it was. So I'm going to now browse my image gallery and select which images I want to use for my road bike, my second-hand road bike image gallery. So I'll say use selected. There we go. And we'll save it. So now when we save it, the read more button will appear because we've got additional content to actually click through to. Let's save that. Let's go have a look. And there we go. So there's our read more button. Now when I click through to that, it'll open up in its own unique page. And these are now part of my gallery images, which when clicked, they'll open up into bigger objects, which are nice to display. So it's nice and small, it saves a lot of space, but once you click on it, it will display as nice big images. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my site builder tab. So we've created a read more button on the road bikes, and on the mountain bikes for sale, I've decided that I want to display my mountain bikes right here without having a click through button. So I'm going to drag the image gallery object into place, click on the select gallery images, and I'm going to go find all those pictures that were the mountain bike images. There we are. So use selected, and it'll automatically put them in place over here. What you can do is also reorder these images. So if you want to change the ordering, simply click and drag them into place, which will then reorder them accordingly. I'm going to save that and save that so we can now see the changes that are in place. Whoops, I need to go back to the home page. So now you'll see that there's a read more button on all of these content articles, but I want the image gallery to display on my home page because I think my clients want to see what mountain bikes are for sale. Of course you do. I don't want to buy something that I can't see immediately, as people like to have something to look at which will tempt them to dig a bit further into what is being sold. So what I can do here is go back to the site builder tab and hover my mouse over the content article. Now here you'll see that there's a little delete icon and there's a little computer screen icon. Now the computer screen icon is the display properties icon. I want to change the display property because currently it's set to summary text and main image. But I don't have a main image and I do have summary text, but I want to display everything. So I'm going to select full content, which is the last object over here. As soon as you select full content, it will say the rest of your content will be displayed here with no read more button. And while I'm at it, I'd like to do this as well for the tips for better downhill biking article, as I want to display the video on my homepage because it's something that my customers might like to watch while they're browsing my website. My personal opinion, I definitely would. I mean, if I see a great video, chances are I'm going to stay on that website and watch the video, and then now that I'm in a good mood and I've watched something that I enjoy doing, I'm now going to browse around the website a bit further to see if they've got some more interesting content or some specials. Alright, so here you'll see that we've changed the display properties for these two content articles. This one is now displaying the video as we've placed it there, and this one is displaying the image gallery as well as the opening paragraph and the heading. This one's, the center one, road bikes for sale, still has everything hidden by the read more button. So I can now click there and it will then take me to the page where all of the content will open up further. Okay, let me just just stop that for now. So on the home page, you will now get all of the, sorry, my internet's being a bit slow here. I hope you're not affected on your side. Okay, so while we wait for the internet to pick up on my side, let's add a slider. Now, looking at the site preview over here, I like how it's looking, but the color doesn't really do it for me at this point in time. The gray doesn't really fit in with a action-packed sport, which is mountain biking or cycling. So I'm going to change the colors as well as add maybe a nice big slider at the top here to really get my client's attention. So I'm going to click back on the site content tab, and I need to now create a slider object. So all I have to do is hover over the slider object, drag it and drop it into place. I want it to go above the mountain bikes, or I could put it below depending on your preference. So I'll just drop that there, and now you'll see that it's also got a placeholder which it's offering for me to place content there. Now I could drag one of my existing content articles into place, but I'm already using them there, and it's not really something I want to display on my slider. On my slider, I want a nice visual element, or perhaps I want some text and an image. So I'm going to create two different types of sliders. I'll create an image only slider, and then I'll create a slider with image and text on the visible, sorry. So I'm going to let's click on this placeholder, and immediately I will add a heading. So I'm going to call it slider 1 image only. And you'll see why I'm doing this now, just so I can identify it. So let's select my image that I want to drag into the main image area. So I'll choose that one, use selected, and now I can just drag that into place over there. Save it. Great. Now we have to check the display property just to make sure that it's got the right display. Because I can see here it says summary text and main image, but I want it to be a main image only, as well, I only want the main image to display. So I'm going to select that option there, and now that that's been chosen, I want to add an additional slide. So I'll click on the orange plus icon to the bottom right hand corner, and let's click on that. I'll call it slider 2 main image plus text, so we can identify it nice and easily. Obviously that's going to display. I'm doing this just for so I can be a bit more logical as to how I conduct the presentation. So I'm going to copy and paste some of my my Latin text in here, and in no way am I fluent in Latin. It's just the standard web text. Now I want to drag a image in here now that we've uploaded. There we go. I like that one. That one looks great. Drag that in place, save it, and just for good effect, I'll create one more slider. But before I do that, I want to make sure that it's got the right setting here. So I want this one to be summary text and main image. So it's going to have the text and the image displayed in the slider. Now I want to add one more, called slider 3 image only. I want to choose my image, and I like that one over here. Actually, let's take that one. Drag it into place, save the content article, and make sure we've got the correct display settings. Now it's image only. Now let's have a look at our handiwork. And there we are. So we've now got a cool slider over here that we can flip through, and you'll immediately notice the different settings. Excuse me. This is the main image only display. As you can see, it's obviously only one image. And as soon as we navigate to the next slider, you'll see it's got the one image on the right and then the slider plus opening paragraph text over here. And then the third one was the image only again. Now that's starting to look a bit better. I'm still not wild about the color, so I want to go and adjust this sort of nondescript gray color to something a bit more lively and something that is going to catch the eye of our user. Obviously, I'm not going to choose a very glarish color, as that becomes quite difficult to look at after about 5 minutes, and then it gives you a headache. So we've explored the site content tab quite thoroughly. There is a few more things we will look at regarding the menu builder. And we've looked at the images tab, so you can drag and drop all your images you want to use over here and then add them to your content articles specifically. Now, to change the color, we are going to look at the theme tab. Now, we've got a default theme selected here, which is the gray and white, which, in my opinion, not a fan of. So let's either choose one of the pre-selected color themes, or I can go and select a custom color theme, which is the one all the way on the left. So as soon as I click on custom color theme, it gives me an option here to set the colors. Now, your primary color is obviously going to be the main leading color on the website, and the secondary color is going to be all of the links, the buttons, and the little accessories that are placed on your website. Now, I've got a very difficult decision now. What color do I make my website? For the love of any good design principle or common sense, do not pick very bright colors like bright red. It becomes very difficult to look at after a very short period of time. Not only that, it looks like the website will have been created using an old 1980s Microsoft Word document, and this was still cool back then. But we want to focus on getting nice subtle colors. So for example, if I did want to use a bright red, why not tone it down just a tad? So take it down to maybe a little bit lighter than that. There we go. Let's have a look at that. So save it, and you'll see that it's gone. It's a sort of lightish red. It's almost a peachy pink. My personal preference is saying I don't like that. I think we could definitely use a different color. So let's come back and pick a different color. I'm thinking more of a let's try a dark green and maybe a dark green and a dark blue, sort of pastel blue color. Wow, okay, that looks a bit like seaweed, but anyway. So we've got our, you'll see here, there's the secondary color, which is the blue, and then your primary color, which is the color behind the slider. In fact, I'm going to change that straight away. It's already giving me a headache. So I'm going to change it to maybe a nice lighter blue, something that looks a bit more easy on the eye. Obviously, you would want to keep within your branding guidelines, but there should obviously be a limit to what color your website is going to be. So there we are. So I much prefer that. It probably wouldn't be my final choice, but for the demonstration purpose, I would definitely be happy with that. Great. So we've got mountain bikes for sale with a little image gallery over here. We've got the read more button for the road bikes, and we've got our video, which will start playing as soon as we've pressed the play button.
Hi Groovers, Chris here from mtbtips.com.
We don't have to watch that now. You can do so at your leisure at another point in time. So we've got 3 sliders on our homepage that's added a nice little interactive elements to our website. We've got the mountain bikes to sell, road bikes, tips for better downhill biking. Now we need to add some additional menu options here. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I saw a menu that only had, a website that only had home and contact us, my guess is that it would, my first opinion would be that the website's half finished, unless you've got all the content on the home page, which I don't really recommend for an SME. It really requires some excellent design skills to pull that off. So let's create some additional menu options here. Now, what menu options could we use? We've got the home and we've got the contact us. Now, we definitely need to put some of the services we offer and also the products we offer. Now, even though we have mountain bikes for sale on the home page and road bikes for sale, it definitely makes sense to also include them in the menu up here. Because often when you land on a website, your first instinct is to have a quick little glance at what's available. If it is, you might click through to it. If it's not, I will browse to the menu here and see if I can find exactly what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and create some new menu options here. Go back to the Site Builder tab. I need to go to the site content as we've already selected our color. And let's get started with creating some more menu options. So here's all the default menus that we've given you. Please bear in mind, the menu will not display unless you've put some content on it. That's why you can see services and products here, but you'll see they're empty. They don't actually contain any content as of yet. So let's get stuck in. First thing I'm going to do is click on the Add a Page or Menu. So as soon as I click on that, it's going to give me the option to create my menu name. So what is the client going to see there? I would like to call it Trek Bicycles. Okay, wait. Let's refine that a bit further. Second-hand mountain bikes is a bit long. So I'm going to create one menu item called Bikes for Sale. Let's say that we can ignore those other options for now. So we've created a new option here, a new menu option called Bikes for Sale. And I want to include 2 options here. It's got the road bikes and we've also got the mountain bikes for sale. So I want to create a drop-down menu that's, when I hover over bikes for sale, I'm going to get which kind of bike do I want. So do I want mountain bikes or do I want road bikes? It's a very nice way of organizing information in a very logical and presentable manner. So how do I create a drop-down menu? I create the parent element. So what is the menu option that's going to display so that when I hover my mouse over it, the drop-down menus will then proceed to present themselves. So I'm going to place the bikes for sale, add a new page option called mountain bikes, and I'm going to add a new one called road bikes. Now remember, these items are not going to display until I have added some content to them. But right now I'm just trying to organize them so that they'll be displaying as a drop-down menu. So with the menu, what I can do is I can drag these items into place so that they will display in the correct order that I want them to. So let's start off with the mountain bikes. I'm going to click on it and drag it upwards so it sits so it nests just below the mountain bikes for sale. I'm going to select the road bikes and place them just under the the mountain bikes for sale. Now, this isn't going to display as a drop menu. We're still going to get all of these menus visible if we had to add content. Now, this is how we turn it into a drop-down menu. I simply hover over this menu option here and click on the blue make sub-menu item, and it will then display as a sub-menu. We can save that just to confirm our changes. And now we have to add some content. Otherwise, like I said previously, it's not going to display over here. Now, what are we going to put here? We've got mountain bikes for sale and we've got road bikes for sale. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I would like to see what am I going to be purchasing along with all the images, give me all the descriptions, as well as some other interactive elements which we will create very shortly. So I think I would like to use a 3-column split here. Now in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to save time, I can use one of the content articles I've created here already, which is the mountain bikes for sale content article. You can simply click it, drag it, and drop it into place and save that change that we've made. I want to make it full content as well, because if the client's been specific enough to say, yes, I'm interested in bikes for sale, therefore I will click on the mountain bikes for sale as that's what I'm interested in. He's displayed some definite interest in mountain bikes for sale. So we don't want to hide this with another read more button. We want to take this read more button away, so that he can have the access that he's looking for, the information he's looking for at his fingertips. So you'll see that only mountain bikes for sale is a drop-down menu, as we've only added content to that item. So let's click on the mountain bikes option here, and you'll see that I've got obviously that content article with the image gallery that I can then click on and decide which one I'd like to purchase. Really like the look of that yellow one from a personal perspective. Okay, so let's go and create some more content here. Now, what content could we possibly put with mountain bikes for sale? Let's put ourselves in the customer's shoes here. If we're interested in buying a mountain bike, how am I going to contact your company? Via telephone? So I'm now here and I've said, right, I really like the look of this yellow bicycle. How do I get into contact with the Super Cycles company and make a purchase or an inquiry? I don't really want to click on the contact us, because then I'm going to lose the information that I've got available. Why don't we put a contact us object in place over here? Yeah, so I want to make it really, really easy for my clients to get into contact with me. I want to add a contact us form specifically for the mountain bikes, and I want to add a contact us widget, which is going to be my Google Maps location, as well as my contact number and my opening hours, all available at one glance. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of my content library. Select that contact info widget and drag it into place as you would do a normal content article. Let's save that and have a look. There we go. So immediately we've had some good success. We've got a contact us widget with my name, email, cell, telephone, email, Skype, and obviously the Google Maps location, which I can then get directions to. So if I click on this directions tab, it'll open up in the open up with a locator. So it's now asking me, where are you? So I can tell it I am in, let's call it we're in Cape Town, so I'm going to call it Muizenberg, if you would like to be correct. So I've selected Muizenberg. So it says, right, there's no stores in this area. However, the stores closest to you are listed below. And this organizes it in a geographic hierarchy. By that I'm meaning which store is closest to you. Obviously, I want to save on traveling time. Petrol's expensive nowadays. So I'm going to click on the webinar demo head office store, which is in 5 Oak Avenue, 24B, 3rd story. Great. Get me directions. It'll automatically then give you directions, which is the fastest way of getting to the shop. Now, this is a really cool functionality that I recommend all of you guys use, as there's nothing more frustrating than going onto a website and then still having to call in and try and get directions over the phone, and then you get lost halfway and then you decide, bugger this, I'm going to go to another shop where I know that's closer and I can find it without tearing my hair out. So I really encourage you guys to make use of this functionality. It's really a top feature. Okay, so let's go back to the mountain bikes for sale page. Now, I've got the contact us information here, but what happens if I don't necessarily have the time to make a call? What happens if I'm in the office and the boss is peeking over my shoulder and I can't actually make an inquiry at this point in time and I forget about it, which means our Super Cycles company loses out on a sale? Let's add a contact us form. So he can enter in the information that he would like to receive a response for, add his email and his cell phone number, and we can then get back to him as soon as we're able to, and he can respond accordingly. So we haven't created any forms yet in any other of these content articles. So I'm going to create a new one by clicking on the placeholder and saying, get in touch with us. I'm not going to add any text here, as it's going to be a very simple content article containing only a form. Now, I want to add a form, so I'm going to click on this form tab here. I want to create my own new form. It's very important to name the forms correctly and to make enough forms so that I can keep track of where the client was on my website when he submitted a form. For example, if I created one form and I use it for all over my website, I'm not sure as to what information he's referring to specifically. What happens if the client asked, sorry, how much is the wheels on the yellow bike, for example? I mean, just using a rough example here. And he submitted that form, and I didn't know what page he was looking at. Maybe I've got multiple yellow bikes. Maybe I've got multiple of the same products in different locations that cost different prices. So I'm going to add a form here and call it mountain bike page. So I know as soon as he submits this that our fictional character of John Wayne is, well, he's not fictional, but you know what I'm talking about. I know that he's looking at the mountain bikes page specifically. So the first thing I want to do is drag this field in place. Just talk you through it. Simply, as with most My Webspace objects, you can just drag that into place. Text field, and I'm going to call it, so the client's, I want to know the client's name. I want to know the client's email address. I want to know the client's contact number. And I'm going to make these required, because if he forgets to enter it, I won't have any way of getting in contact with him again. So I'm going to force him to enter in a valid email address and force him to enter in a valid contact number by clicking on the required option over here. I also want to add a text block, so he can add a general product inquiry. name, email address, contact number, and general product inquiry. I'm happy with that. So let's save that. And now you'll see that we've got the mountain bike page form here. So I'll just drag and drop that into place, save it just so we get the layout, and you'll see that it's got the get in touch with us. Right, we didn't change the display properties. So remember, we've got to choose how we want each content article to display. I want it to display full content because I want that form to display first time. There we go. So now I've got mountain bikes for sale. I've got maybe some promotional text here. I've got some cool images. I've got a form, and I've also got my contact details should the client want to get hold of me. Obviously, I could structure this page in any way that I see fit. So if I wanted to create maybe I'm just going to touch on this again briefly. Pastel My Workspace is incredibly easy to make very quick changes to the content. So I might not necessarily be happy with this. So I can then go back here and reuse these same content articles that I've created here. So the first one, for example, I'll use mountain bikes for sale. I'll create another one, another placeholder, and what's the second one? Get in touch with us. So let me scroll up, find the get in touch with us. I'm going to use that. And then the third one, actually, let's create a 2 split, 1 split here. Sorry, a half split. So the contact info and the get in touch with us. So these are the 3 content articles that we already have over here. We're just relaying them in a different layout so we can see what we like and what we don't like. So I'm going to make that full content once again and full content. And let's have a look at which one we prefer. What do you guys think? Maybe if I had some more pictures here, it would make sense, but I think it's looking a bit sort of laid out. I actually prefer the previous one, but this could definitely work if I had some more content to put over here. So if I had maybe 20 images, then it would look really cool. But it's looking a bit threadbare, so I think I'm going to revert back to what I had. So all I have to do is go back to the site builder, click on the delete content articles, remove from placeholder, because we don't actually delete them, we simply remove them from the placeholder. There we go. Let's save that. And now we're back to our best again. Awesome. Now, we've had this request previously where a client wasn't able to identify from the webinar how to create a link to an external website. Now, why would you want to create a link to an external website? Well, if you've got an affiliate company, if you've got a sister company, if you're maybe involved in a reseller program where you get accredited for the sales that you refer onto the company, these are all things that you might want to make use of. So let's add a new page menu. So in this example, we will be adding a link to an external website. And in this case, it'll be one of the bicycle shops. For example, Trek Bicycle or Cervelo or Bianchi, one of those very fancy top-end brands. So these are my second-hand bikes for sale. I want to add a new one called New Bikes for Sale. Drag that into place, and I want to add a page called, let's have a look here, called Trek Bikes. Okay, so add a new page menu called Trek Bikes. So these are all my brand new bike offerings that I've got. So let's create one called Trek Bikes. Let's add another one called Cervelo. That's a Canadian bike manufacturer. Let's add another one called Bianchi, depending on your nationality. Okay, so we've got Trek bikes. Let's move it under the new bikes for sale. Let's move the Cervelo under new bikes for sale and the Bianchi under new bikes for sale. I do apologize, I've created the wrong menu options here. They need to be links to an external website. That's my mistake. Very easy one to make. So what we'll do is, okay, there we go. Let's just delete that last one. Okay, so let's add a new page called, instead of it calling it a standard page, we need to create it as a link to an external site. So the link to the external site, I need to go and copy and paste the link in here. Sorry, my computer's just misbehaving a little bit. Okay, so let's add, sorry, let's try this again. Add a link to an external site. It should then give us the option to add the URL. Sorry, looks like I'm having a bit of internet connectivity issues here, so it's not picking up, but I'm wanting to change it. Okay, let me just refresh my site builder quickly by pressing F5. Sometimes things like this do happen with web-based browsers. You sometimes need to refresh the page in case it's saved old information on there. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, let's add a page, link to an external site, enter in our URL, and I want to call it Trek Bikes. There we go. And you'll see here it automatically goes and fetches what's on that website already. I want to add a new one, link to an external site, and call it Bianchi, and add the new one called ooh, ouch, okay. Actually swapped them around, that's my mistake. Okay, so this one should actually be called, yeah. Just need to re-edit that one. I didn't copy the correct URL in there. Got a bit trigger happy. So let's copy and paste that, and there we go. So now we've got our new bikes, Trek bikes, Bianchi, and Cervelo. These all link to an external website. So I'm going to drag them and place them under the new bikes for sale. Use the little blue icon to make them into a submenu, and then we can go and save this. Make sure we save that. Basically, every time you make a change on the website, you should then save the changes. That's obviously to make sure that, well, you don't lose your work, which I'm sure you don't want to. Alright, yeah, it looks like my computer's struggling a bit, which is not ideal when you're hosting a webinar. Okay, so here we've got the bikes for sale. We've only got the mountain bikes, and we've got our new bikes for sale. So that's Bianchi, Cervelo, and I can now click on one of them to take me to an external website. So I'm going to use the right click, open link in new tab. So I don't want to lose what I'm doing here. And you'll see that it's taken me to the partner website. So one of the other guys who are, or sorry, one of the companies that I'm selling bicycles for. Okay, so we're basically at the end of the webinar, guys. I hope you found some excellent information, learned some valuable tips and tricks and how to lay out the content. If you do feel that we didn't answer any of the questions, please shoot us a question. You can use the built-in chat functionality and I can answer anything that you may have. Or alternatively, you can send an email with your query to nils@pastelmywebspace.co.za. That's NILS, November, Indigo, Lima, Sierra. And I'll be obviously happy to give you a call and assist you further. For the following week, we will be looking at creating your SMS and email campaigns. Now, we run a webinar every Tuesday at 11:55 for starting at 12 p.m. And we do encourage you to obviously join us and learn some very valuable tips and tricks on how to set up your website, your e-commerce online shopping that integrates into your accounting package, as well as running your own SMS and email campaigns and doing your online marketing. So basically, Pastel My Webspace, the website building functionality is the first step to marketing your product online. It's not a one-stop shop in terms of you can do all your marketing via just your website. The modern day reality is that you have to engage in additional marketing as well, and that's why we've got the SMS and email marketing campaigns. So if you're offering a new product, a new service, maybe there's an industry deadline, for example, a tax submission deadline that's coming up, and you would like your clients to know more about that, then we do encourage you to use the campaigns tool to get some additional interest in your company, make a sale, offer some support, bill them for the hours, etc., etc. So it's a really cool tool that you can monitor the progress of the campaigns as well via the real-time stats. So I can see exactly which clients opening the emails, which clients clicking through, and who's displaying interest in our product or campaign offering. All right, as I said, if you've got any further questions, you're welcome to email me at nils@pastelmywebspace.co.za, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have. Alternatively, join us again next week and we'll show you how to get marketing effectively using the campaign management tool. Sorry. All right, thank you for attending. That will be all for now. We'll see you again next week. Cheers for now, guys. Bye.